Hi everyone! Today we'll be making a fabulous and chic necklace using soft flex wire, some SilverSilk hollow chain, and some SilverSilk pearlesque chain. For a full list of the materials, you can check out the description below. Welcome to the SilverSilk channel. My name is Nilay Patel and I'm the owner, designer, and educator here at SilverSilk and more. And before we get started, I want you guys to destroy that subscribe button. And if you're looking for even more inspiration, you can definitely follow my Instagram. All right, let's go ahead and get started. All right, I have all these wonderful materials in front of me. These all, and the chain was actually inspired also by the color palette, but the beads especially and the soft flex wire that you see here, this is a gorgeous beading wire that came in a kit called Resort Chic from Softflex Company. So what I did was I opened up this kit, spilled out all of my beads, got to work with my wire, and made this really great design that I want to share with you guys. So what I have in here, it's like, this is such a multi-component piece, I feel like. So I'm not really sure where to start, but I think the center and then working our way out is probably the best call. So some extra materials you're going to need is 20 gauge wire, which I went ahead and pre-strung my bead set on. You can definitely choose whichever beads you like to string onto your piece of wire. And this probably is about 6 inches and you might not need any more. And I did a really clever thing here at the end. I put on some earring backs to hold my beads in place as I work on this piece of wire. That way my beads won't fall out. So I would recommend doing this as step one. Okay, so we have that set aside. Step two will be to string some pearls on. These pearls are also from the kit. So I went ahead and purposed them and made them part of the design. And if you're looking for similar pearls, I believe these are about 3mm glass pearls in this beautiful pink color. And again, I'm just using the same 20 gauge soft flex wire, craft wire that they beads right onto those as well. And there's about 23 beads on here, give or take. There might be actually more, but I used a good portion of the strand that's included in that set. And then I have also here some of the hollow mesh that I mentioned earlier. This is going to be used as a sleeve right over those pearls. If you're not familiar with what hollow mesh is, it's a knitted wire sleeve. This one happens to be the pearlesque hollow mesh, which means it's got a beautiful rainbow tint to it. Knitted in with the wire is this rainbow tinsel, and it gives a really beautiful sparkle to your design. So I'm going to be using a little bit of that in my design here. So let's go ahead and make the central component and combine these two items together, and then I'll show you guys how to connect the rest of it. Really quite simple though. Really all I'm going to do is actually just string this right through. What I have here though is a sharp end, and so whenever I do string it through, you might have some trouble going back and forth through the hollow mesh with your chain. So I recommend doing this. I'm going to slide my pearls down just a little bit. And I'm going to create a little hook on one end, just using a pair of chain nose pliers. Doesn't even have to be this big. It could be a smaller hook, but this creates a blunt end so that whenever I slide my wire right down, and I want to go and also trim it while I'm here. That way I'm not working with too much at a time. Okay. And this should make sliding through down to the pearls very easy. As you can see, it just glides right over. And that filling just adds so much beautiful dimension to your knitted wire. Those pearls are just absolutely stunning in there. And I do love the pink on pink tone. So I'm going to pinch one side in. I'm going to leave this fairly loose. If I have a little bit too much, I could certainly go ahead and cut a little bit of this off, but I want to leave it a little bit more on the loose side. That way it shows that dimensionality. And I'm also able to bend it into a U shape according to what our photo looked like at the end of our design process. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pinch that side down as well, just like that. I could go and release my hook. And in with the bead mix, and you get a pretty good sized bead mix in the Softflex kits as well. I have picked up a bead cap that I'm using as my cone, if you will, on the ends of my knitted wire. So I'm going to go ahead and slide those right on. And then I'm actually going to use some more beads from the kits that are smaller and complement my color so that I can have a nice congruous design here. So I'm just going to kind of bend it in shape just to make sure that it's going to look and connect correctly. I'm going to actually just bend one side since I don't have any earring backs, at least more of them on my desk here in the immediate sense. But I'm just going to go ahead and create a round loop at one end, and I'm going to grab my round nose pliers real quick. I'm just using a pair of Weber's round nose pliers. And I am going to make a wire wrap loop. Whoops, as you could see as my beads fell out. So definitely have a few of those earring backs on hand if you want to use that technique or the tip there. Okay, got my nice round loop. So I'm just going to do a couple wraps. Doesn't need to be too over the board there. That looks perfect. I'm going to trim that right off. Okay, and I do want my loops to face in as I'll be stringing it onto my little bar there. So same thing on this side. String this right back on. I've pretty much got my bend in there, so I could just take it right onto my round nose pliers there and take it around. If I need to push down just a little bit, which is totally fine, I can just continue to shape this accordingly. Make sure that I have a nice 90-degree angle bend in there, and then once I feel pretty good about it, which that looks really good to me, I can go ahead and start my wrapping. There we go. That looks really good to me. So I'm going to trim off that end. And everything should be nice and tucked away inside of your cones there. Perfect. So that looks really good. So now you can kind of bend it into the shape that U shape, if you will, and have it to where it's going to be comfortable to string right through your little bar, your bead bar there. So I'm going to start with the one end and then do the other. So pretty easy from here out. You're just kind of attaching things together. So I'll take my earring stopper there out. I'm going to string it right through. And I'm going to work on the one side first. What I also had was a little bead out here to kind of sandwich my loop between. So I have that there. And I did a nice little wire wrapped loop on this end as well. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay. Again, this is 20 gauge wire, very easy and flexible to work with. Perfect size for beads. However, it does retain the structure of a thicker wire, and I think it'll be pretty good to use for this type of design, especially. Okay, so now I can string through the other side here. There we go, that's perfect. And now I can string on my second bead there. There we go. Perfect, that's looking really good. Okay. If your loops are slightly off, which mine are just a little bit angled, you can fix them pretty immediately on your design as you're sort of working with it. So I went ahead and just fixed it, rotated those little loops accordingly, and now it's sitting pretty well. So I'm going to go ahead and create my second loop here. Okay, there we go. I'm gonna break that neck and then get that loop all nice and wrapped up very easily. Perfect. Okay, there we go. So now it's just a matter of joining our other mixed media materials to make ourselves a really cool chic necklace here. So I'm gonna make sure that my loops face front out here, just like that they sit flat. And then here I have my pearlesque chain. This is called Waterfall. The reason it's pearlesque is because it has a very metallic, really beautiful shine inside of it. It's a multi-layered chain. So it's got a lighter blue tencel color that's been knitted over a silver ball chain. And then knitted all over that is a beautiful dark blue chain. So you get this multifaceted, really multi-layered, just this really depth in the chain here. Um, so it's really fun and cool and sweet to use. I do have it on the website, which is, you could find that right up there, silversilkonline.com. One thing to note here is that I went ahead and preconditioned my ends. If you're wondering what preconditioning SilverSilk is, you can refer to the silversilkonline.com designs, school of design, excuse me. And on there, you can find cool tips and tricks to using and conditioning your SilverSilk as you're using it. It just makes your SilverSilking much easier, I will say. So it's worth a good read. Okay, so I just need to grab my wide nose pliers that I put out here. There we go. Luckily, all of my tools here are very accessible, but I just use a pair of wide nose pliers that's been coated in Tool Magic and gave that a good squeeze. So the Tool Magic protects my finding, which is very, very shiny from any abrasion and marks caused by the pliers specifically. And it also gives me a good grip on my findings so that it's not going to slip out of my hands. Okay, so I'll just give this a good stretch. And by the way, I'm using close to maybe 12, 13 inches of the SilverSilk chain here for my necklace for the bottom part. So another place to get some of these shorter pieces are the SilverSilk remnant bags. There's all kinds of different chains in there and a variety of lengths. And so this actually just came from one of those and happened to work with the color palette that I'm using here. There we go. So that looks really good. And finally, I have here my beading wire. This is a SilverSilk beading wire here, pink tourmaline. And I went ahead and just beaded all of my stuff on there. So down here, as you could see, I kind of put an arrangement of beads and I put a little crimp up here to stop it from shifting. And then I just made a little loop here at the bottom to connect to my jump ring. And I went ahead and used my crimping pliers to apply the crimp in place and went ahead and attached my findings as well. So you can do this well ahead of time. You'll just have to know what your preferred necklace length is, and then measure out your beading wire accordingly. For this length, which is close to about 11 inches, which would make your necklace drop down to about your chest, just the top of your chest actually, you would probably need about 13 inches each for each necklace rope. That will include any of the extra wire trimmed away that you'll do during your crimping process. So I went and attached a jump ring to each of my strands there. And so simply you can open this up. I recommend having 2 pliers for this if you're really wanting to take care of your nails. And then you could start to just go ahead and drop in your focal piece here. So I'm going to start with the SilverSilk chain first, followed by that component that we just made. There we go. And finally, same thing on this side. I went ahead and again attached my jump ring to my beaded string there. Start with your SilverSilk. Now you want to make sure that you do shake your SilverSilk out to be nice and smooth and not tangled up or anything. Ideally, what I have here is the logo side facing up. So I just want to make sure that that is repeated on this other side as well. And the last thing you want is your SilverSilk to be all twisted up when you wear it. So you do want to make sure you do shake it loose before you string it on so that it's going to lay correctly. Okay, and then I'll just close this right up. And that basically completes our necklace. You could see that it's a very minimalist style, but there's a lot of color variety, so much texture happening, and so much interest with the little bar that goes across, accented by the bead cluster up there. So I think it's a very fun, smart piece to design with, especially when you have a kit like the Soft Flex Wire mystery kits that are available. And so you'll want to definitely check into those. And guys, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. And I want to thank you so much for joining me. If you love this project and want to check out even more projects from SilverSilk, you can check out the other playlists that are available on my YouTube channel. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel while you're there. And if you have a comment or any questions, you can definitely leave them below. And you can also show the channel some love by leaving a comment as well. And thank you so much for joining me for this tutorial. And I hope you go forth and create.